Hello and welcome back. I love doing these intros because that means I have another fantastic and inspiring guest for all of you to meet here on Adventures in Adversity. So, if you've been here before, you know what we're talking about getting through adversity in life. If you haven't, welcome. It's an inspirational podcast basically about turning life's adversity in its many, many forms into an adventure somehow. So, I have the honor of interviewing and meeting and connecting with Anne Mock, who is a fantastic human. I already know because, as I was just telling her, I've been cyber stalking her in a loving way. Um, very excited for this interview and connection. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Bree, for having me here. I'm so excited to chat and just have a great time and see how adversity really can become a great path, and you never know what's out there. And honestly, having the adversity, it's changed my life in a very positive way.
Yeah. So that's a fantastic viewpoint, and I'm using that word on purpose because
Yes.
I found you through your Instagram page, Purpose in View. And I mean, from the minute we connected, I'm like, yeah, and by the way, thank you for being such a wonderful supporter. Like, I
Oh,
feel like
thank you.
we know each other. You've been like
Yes, yes,
loving on me, and I love on your post.
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
nice, warm and fuzzy, and I like so appreciate it. And like we hadn't even
Thank you.
talked yet, so
Yeah,
you're a lovely fellow creator.
thank
Not
you.
only
Thank you.
so your page, Purpose in View on Instagram, and your website here I have, purposeinview.com. All of this will be in the show notes, of course, as well as I'm gonna brag about you now. So you're always on my desk, like you're going to blush, and it's okay. Um, so I also just watched your TEDx talk called
You.
Blindsided,
Yes,
which you gave in 2022, right?
yes.
First of all, I mean, I don't even know where to start because you're so cool. you're so you're such an inspirational creator. Your content's beautiful, your message is beautiful, the energy of your page is wonderful. So I'm going to just start by asking you to kind of introduce yourself to my audience. I know you because I'm like all up in your stuff here.
Yeah,
So tell us your story and then we'll kind of go jump around if you'd like.
sure. To describe myself, I'm an Asian Canadian female. I have long hair and it's in loose waves right now. I'm wearing a white top, and behind me, I have fake flowers because I cannot keep them alive. So they're there. That's my decor. And I'm just sitting in my home office. I believe the wall is like a creamy white. Um, so I've always struggled with my vision. When I was a kid, I started wearing glasses at 3 years old. I had those Coke bottle lenses. My family had immigrated to Canada, and they were just here to build community. But it was a time where there weren't that many Asian kids in our school. Like I think there was like two Asian families, one South Asian, one Japanese, and we got bullied quite a bit. And if you see the TED Talk, you'll see a very
Yes.
poignant
So
um,
sorry.
point in my story. And I became a very shy and quiet kid. And my parents, because they were just trying to fit in and just make it a go here, the vision loss that I struggled with, I didn't articulate it to really anybody. They could tell that I was struggling, but they just thought, you need some glasses.
Right.
And my parents were not going to question the doctors because
Sure.
there was no reason to. Everyone else in the family wore glasses, so it
Right.
didn't seem like odd.
Yeah.
But I did struggle through school. Um, but I found I did really well, like when my first job as doing fast food, because
Mhm.
it was muscle memory,
Yeah.
and I was good at connecting with people.
Mhm.
So I had really good customer service and things. So I excelled in those things. Um, and as I got older. um, I started to notice more and more of my vision loss. My husband had suffered a stroke when he was at age 40, and I became the primary breadwinner. I was working two and three jobs just to make things make ends meet. And oh, because I was the caregiver, I wasn't taking care of myself or thinking about myself. Um, but I was starting to notice that my vision was deteriorating. I could no longer see the street signs in front of me. I couldn't read the license plates in front of me. And my kids were at their busiest season of their lives,
Mm.
whether it's hockey, swimming, taekwondo.
Yep.
Um, and just even in my peripheral, I was losing that. So I couldn't see someone crossing in front of me until it was too close.
Mm.
And so it was about that time that I decided to give up driving. But I kept going to the eye doctor and saying, I can't see what I know I'm supposed to be able to see. And
Mhm.
they would check and they go, your visual acuity is fine. Um, you know, and I was like, can I get some glasses? And they're like, you don't need it, but we'll give you a small prescription to
Oh,
make you
man.
happy.
Frustrating,
um,
right? Frustrating because 'cause you're like,
yeah,
"Something is not right
I
here."
know yeah, I know something is wrong, and then I would even give up driving
Yeah.
to that point. And it was a tremendous strain, of course, on the
Oh,
family too, as well.
oh,
So it took about 8 years. Um, before I finally said to the optometrist, maybe if I have contact lenses and I like stick them right up against my eyes, maybe I'll see better. But it actually, in fact, made it worse. So that's when they decided to send me to the retinal specialist. And she was the first person that said, I believe you. And that was a huge weight lifted and validation because I thought I was going crazy.
yeah,
Nobody seemed to believe me that I was struggling. But I was also doing very well at work in many ways too. So it was very hard to understand what was happening.
yeah.
And so we went through a couple years of testing, and then I was diagnosed with an inherited retinal condition called Cone-Rod Dystrophy. So I don't know anyone in my family genetic wise that has it, but in the Asian culture, we don't really talk about disability as well. So
Mhm.
if there was anything going on, probably nobody said it either, right? Um, So I just continued on and worked. Uh, and I started to go to CNIB to get orientation and mobility lessons and learning how to use a white cane. I had suffered some falls, but
Mm.
it was a very gray time because I could see, but I couldn't see. And I hadn't told my employer that I was struggling. And actually, the day that I got diagnosed was the same day that I signed a contract for my dream job, which was to be a nursing assistant in the procedure room in a fertility clinic.
Oh,
It was
what
like a job that I didn't have to work two, three jobs anymore. I could only work one. The benefits were great. The commute was awesome. It
same day.
was same day. Yeah,
Oh
the morning I got my diagnosis, and the afternoon I had a 1 o'clock appointment with HR to sign the contract.
my goodness.
Yeah.
That that's wow. That's
Hmm.
very, I mean, talk about a day of, like, joy and then
Yeah.
joy and despair, right?
Yes. Yes.
All in
Yes.
one
And
day.
just not knowing what to do. Should I? Should I not? Do I come clean? Do I say something? But I can still, but I can see, but I can't see. Like it's not to the point where I can't work. I do my job.
Mm.
Uh, so I basically led a double life for about the next 4 years after that. Um, like my family knew and my friends, but nobody at work knew. And it was very anxiety,
Mhm.
stressful. And then finally, about 2018, I decided to go to CNIB and get the help that I needed and counseling as well, because I was so afraid to come out to my employer.
Yeah.
I was afraid I would lose my job, which I couldn't afford to lose my job. Um,
Because your family, it's not just as simple. There's all these cascading effects.
yes, yes, exactly. It wasn't something simple.
Yeah.
Um, and yet I was doing so well at work. Like I was, the person that was doing the procedure during like accreditation for the college and the physicians, and
Yeah.
they thought she's great, right? And it's because I was so stressed, so detail oriented,
You were, like, overcompensating. You were
overcompensating. Yeah,
so Yeah. So but that internal anxiety, right,
Hmm.
is going to wear on your nervous system, right?
Yes.
And you're
Yes.
trying to, you didn't have a manual for navigating this either.
No.
Like you were
No.
like, oh, then this is going to happen. Then in this phase, you're also like, I'm trying here. I'm supporting my family. I'm going through
Yeah.
this. You're also the mental challenges of going
Yes.
through that.
Yeah. It was just so draining. And I remember coming home at night and just being completely exhausted, not able to give to my family. This job was supposed to be able for me to be more present with my family, but I just couldn't because I was mentally exhausted. My eyes were tired.
Yeah.
Um, and because I was so stressed about like getting to work and stuff, I would like get up super early for work and I'd be there like 2 hours ahead of time. And then I'd stay like longer just so that I could beat rush hour traffic and like lots
Uh,
of people around me. So there was a lot going on.
yes.
Yeah.
Everything was that much harder, and all the pressure of the weight of life, and then that was must have, I mean, first of all, like you're extremely strong to have like weathered that. So I just want to commend you. As a mother, as like mother to mother,
Hmm. Hmm.
like being a mother is challenging enough. Then add working with a condition that is like so
Oh,
life altering.
yes,
So I just
yes.
want,
And you don't know where the future goes. And then
oh,
you're a caregiver as well.
and
And you've
so,
got in-laws, right? So,
yeah, in those moments, like, were you just kind of on, there was no moments of, were you able to sleep? Were you kind of exhausted?
uh, very exhausted because I was getting up at like 3, 4 in the morning, leaving work at 5 a.m., like to catch that very first bus to get into the city because it was the quietest bus.
Yeah. And this was
Yeah.
in Canada?
In Canada here. Yeah. Just outside
Yes.
in Vancouver. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you are in the midst of this. This is 2018, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
And
so I finally get accommodations in September of 2018 and I get a desk job. And I actually find that it's actually harder for me staring at the computer for such a long time. I couldn't see the mouse, the cursor. I was just having a bad time. And plus, still nobody really knew. Only my nursing manager knew, only the doctors knew, but nobody else around me at the office knew.
yeah.
So it was even hard to ask for the IT guy, can you help me like with some stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Christmas came, and then on January 1st, 2019, I woke up with this migraine-like headache that I still have today. And honestly, I think my body just burnt out. And so I was diagnosed with something called new daily persistent headache, NDPH. And that's when a headache starts all of a sudden and just doesn't end. So I still have that headache today. The first 8 months were terrible because I didn't know what I had. I was completely bedridden for those first 8 months. Um, and yeah, it was a lot. I really um, lost my job. I lost my sense of self. I didn't even know what I like, what I want to do, because I was just in pain all the time. So that was really the breaking point for me where I fell into deep, deep depression.
And this was January 2019.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And I know because uh, in different ways I've experienced the lows, and we
Hmm.
all have that different form of adversity.
Yes.
But when, I'm sure anyone listening that for their version of adversity and like their lowest point up until this point in their life, because it's that
Hmm.
lowest point's always kind of, sometimes that lowest point comes way later in life.
Yeah.
Some kids have so much adversity. It sounds like you did. Like my breaking point came when I was 41. But
Mm-hmm.
that when you, I just want to say, I just feel for you in that moment. I know you've come out of that, but like
Hmm.
that's the human experience where it just brings you to your knees,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And that's why I really want to go and share my story and connect with others and listen to their stories because when we're in that low, low point, we cannot see our way out.
No.
But you need a hand that just holds you and carries you, right? Because it is so, so hard. And if I could go back then and see where I am now, I would never believe that. But to
The
hold on to some hope,
Yes.
that, okay, you've reached the very bottom. We can only go up from now. So, let's just slowly climb out of this.
Yes, it's like, can you just withstand this this pain and
Hmm.
climb out of it? Would you
Yeah.
say in and again, feel free to share as much as you would like. Would
Hmm.
you say there a moment or many moments when you were like, "Okay, what are we gonna" like, was there a turning point? Was it like a gradual how did you pivot out of because by the way, rightfully,
Hmm.
in anyone in your position, you have to feel those feelings that, like,
Yes,
that
you have to.
that is
Yeah.
valid.
Yes.
Like,
You have to
so
feel them.
you're like and then the question is how long can you feel them,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
tell me about I'll let you kind of talk about
Sure.
point.
Yeah. You definitely have to embrace your feelings and know that they're valid.
Yes.
And I think the one thing is the acceptance piece. I realize I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have this for a long time. There's no cure. Maybe, one day it might stop, but in the meantime, I still have to live. And the hard parts were watching my children see me um, just laying in bed all the time and not able to get up or out. And I didn't want them to see me like this. And I also wanted, like, if they were ever going through this, what kind of advice could help them?
Mm,
And, like, this can't be my story. I can rewrite my story. So that's pretty much the mind shift that I had.
mm,
Um, and also, and with the acceptance part is like, you know what? I was fortunate that I was getting good care. I had a good care team that were really trying to help me. They couldn't cure it, but we could see what we can do to stabilize it as much as possible, which is the point where I've gone to now, where I have grade 4 out of 10 headache all the time, but I can live with that. But
yeah.
also knowing that to to not fight it all the time, because fighting it took so much effort. So I just learned to live in the low pain moments.
Mm,
So, and that's kind of how I started. And this was also time the pandemic was hitting, da da da, and people were struggling being at home. But I was like, I've been at home for a long time. I'm okay, right? But I remember like being very connected with my phone because that was my only source of the outside world, and really needing and wanting to find community, someone like me, someone who has my two rare conditions, my genetic eye condition and also my headache condition, because I was wondering, how are people doing? How are they surviving? And not only that, like, are they thriving? Because that's the kind of person that I want to find. Um, but I also noticed with websites, they're so inaccessible. And I thought, like, how can I help in some way? And small businesses were struggling, and I still like to shop, so
yeah.
I would, purchase items, and then I would tag them in my Instagram and give them a shout out. But I would also make my content as accessible as possible so that it would reach the visually impaired community too. So that was my whole goal. And social media and Instagram actually ended up being what helped me climb out, because it was like, Instagram is a visual medium. Like, how can I do this as someone who's visually impaired? So, one day I would get up and take a shower, because getting up and taking a shower took so much energy.
Yeah.
So just taking care of myself, doing my hair, and then I would snap a photo, and then that'd be it for the day. And the next day I might write the caption, and the
Mm,
next day I might post it and then engage. And it was like my goal was like one post a week. That's all I need to do. And interestingly, this ripple effect started, and I started connecting with more people, and brands started to notice too. So that's how my life really changed.
wow. Here you are from, let's see, it's January 2025, so that's 6
Yeah,
years later.
yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
more 6 plus years later, you went from, like, that sort of despair to owning your journey, like,
Owning it.
there's
Yeah.
so many okay, so there's so many things. There's so many. I was just nodding and just what you're doing, I think, is so wonderful because I feel like when like the antidote to adversity is like community,
Yes, it
right?
is. It is.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
just realizing that, like, even if you are an introvert, I mean,
Mhm.
I am clearly not. I talk a lot. I'm a very hyper. Everyone's like, too much coffee. I was like, haven't even had any today. Like, that's just like, it's who I am. I came out of the womb like yapping. But, I want to make this podcast. And we were talking a little bit about like, I have captions on my reels.
Mhm.
However, I have missed the boat on I have more work to do because I like for example, right now I am sitting in a chair with a white background with a
Mhm.
jean jacket. You know,
Mhm.
I am a female with short brown hair. So this like now I'm learning from you like
Mhm.
and we can spread that to other creators like
Yes.
what
Yes.
is because I would love for people with any kind of impairment to be able to
Mhm.
engage with my content. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I thought,
Yeah.
"Oh, captions are good." But then I was like, "Wait, I guess I didn't even know, honestly, Anne, that visual im people with visual impairment engage so much." And, like, that's
Yeah.
my ignorance, actually. I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
No, no. But that's the thing. It's all part of learning.
Yeah.
And I love to be able to spread that awareness. And I don't like to go on it in a like you should do this kind of way. But like just like I love like this is what I do like and you can see for yourself. And most people are like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." And
Totally.
that's all it takes. Yeah.
Like, alt tag, description of the
Yeah.
scene, and then
Yeah.
captions. Like, it's
Yeah.
actually a very like you were saying in your TED Talk,
Hmm.
building in I work in software, and, like, when you build
Yeah.
something, you build in the checks and balances, and you build in not after the fact. So
Yes.
now, actually, from this moment forward, and you can let me know, you're gonna
Yeah.
be like, "Yay, Bree, good job," or "No, Bree,
I
you
love
did this."
anytime one does anything, I'm just so happy. Like if you just got anything out of it, like I'm happy, right?
Yeah. Well,
And even like it's just in our day-to-day lives, just communicating well, you know, describing, communicating, because that can make a huge difference. You go to the doctor's office and the secretary's like over there, and you're like, where over there?
yes,
Down the hall, second door on the left, right? Or that's all it
yes.
takes. It's just very simple.
Yes. So, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, hence my
Hmm.
personality. Um, but it's all good intention. But so you 6 years later, you have done a TED Talk. You have, embraced, you said a huge part of it is acceptance and
Yes.
building community.
Yes. Yeah.
I also want to give you props in my cyber stalking and research. You have just published a book.
Yes. Uh,
Congratulations.
thank you so, so much. I was part of another book last year. It was called Become Empowered,
Huh?
Goes of Grace and Strength. And that was with a group of 13 other authors. And then this other opportunity came up to do my own. And it's been a year in the making, but I'm so, so proud of it. Um, the cover is specific in that having that representation on the shelf of an Asian woman with a white cane. Um, I don't know where or when we see that. And
Mm,
so even when I look back at my childhood and had I seen something like that, perhaps it would have helped me because, I grew up in a very suburban city,
mhm.
very diverse, but yet I never seen that.
Wow,
Not at all.
that's interesting, Anne, because I have friends of all different origins and
Hmm.
backgrounds, nationalities, religious beliefs, all over. And when you were saying in your TED talk, like just sort of things you're referencing about Asian culture versus, I was like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I remember, I remember seeing that with my friends' families. I
Yes.
did not know
Mhm.
that it wasn't really, you didn't really talk about like sort of like disability special needs type stuff.
No, no.
Interesting.
It's like something is wrong with you.
Mm,
Even, my kids, their glasses that my father-in-law, grandpa will say, what's wrong with your eyes? And like, there's nothing wrong, you know?
Well, so
So it's that language is like, or and even my daughter who's left-handed, her great grandmother would like slap her hand and say, "No, use your right hand." So just little things like that. And I think it's just so important that we talk about it and normalize it, because
yes.
the reality is, as I say, 1 in 4 of us report having a disability. Like, a disability can come at any time. It could be temporary, it could be permanent, it could be dynamic. And to think when we're building an architecture and design of incorporating universal design into what we do, um, how can we support the people around us? Many people live in multi-generational homes,
Mhm.
having a home that's universally designed so that everyone um,
Mm.
can live, work, and play, and not feel othered.
Yes, yes. It and it's interesting when you brought up sort of the generational stuff. I'm like, my mom is South African. My dad is Irish, Italian, like East Coast Irish Catholic. And it's very interesting. Like in that generation, I know East Coast Buffalo, like
Mm.
there, you don't show weakness.
Yeah,
There's
you
no,
don't show weekend.
what are you crying about? And
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
not like, I'm not, this is what, stop crying. And it's like, actually now it's like, I need to like all the research. It's like, oh, it's like the worst.
yes, yes,
Oh, that's the worst
yes,
thing you can say ever. Right?
yeah,
Like, you didn't know, but oh dear God.
yeah. And it's not like, blaming anything. It's just the
No.
way things were. But,
Yeah.
we can all learn from it, and be better, right? So,
Really.
um, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing I hope to teach my kids too. Whenever I set the table for my daughter, like, I always put hers on the left side. I just like not making an issue out of it. It's just that's the way it is. Yeah.
Some yeah, some things were born with, some things happen later. And all of us, what I've learned, you're my 20th guest. There's
Mhm.
my dog. He's applauding you in the
Yeah.
background. Boba. Um, Boba, let's see, what was I saying? Oh, so, and when you were saying, like, my goal in this podcast is to represent people of all different walks of life, ages, backgrounds, genders. And you are, let's see, I had Jay, who is a wonderful, they're all my friends now because I make everybody my friend. So we're
Yeah.
friends. So
We're all friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, super clingy.
Yeah.
Um, so Jay is he has cerebral ataxia and he lives in
Mhm.
London and he's in
Yeah.
his 30s and he has when he was 15 that was degenerative, that's kind of when it culminated, and he was like, I know something's wrong too, they couldn't figure it out. He has just turned his story into posting his workouts. He's very like spiritual. He just is my hero.
Mhm.
And then my last episode, I believe you guys follow each other. Kiwan, Amy,
Yeah. Yeah.
who had the motorcycle accident. And like, it's this moment of, in all those stories, it's like this moment of, no, this is not going to be the way it goes. Like,
That's right.
I'm going to control what I can, and
Yes.
we're going to change this narrative. Is that right?
Mhm. Yes. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And you have.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing is, like, I feel like I am who I was meant to be now.
Hmm.
With everything that's happened, I'm actually very grateful for it and really blessed, because it's given me this second chance now and this life that I could have never dreamed or imagined. And I'm doing things that really light me up. I mean, I loved my job that I had before, but I think because I was going in my, day to day, going to work, going, I'm going to be here till I'm 99. Like, I don't know. But I'm doing things that bring me joy, that help others, connect others together. Um, and we can build supportive networks, and make change. And I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Hmm. Wow. So you know, it's so powerful what you're saying and how you have have turned this into such a light for people. And I I want to again commend you because it takes um it takes like a resilient soul. And I just and I think there are people, like you said, you've figured out that like this is your purpose.
Mm.
Tell me about like, and I can tell through your reels and the energy of all of your posts. I always laugh. Like when you like or you when you post like walking by and put your heel up with the cane,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god, she's so cute." I'm like, I literally wanna like squeeze you. I'm just like, because you're like us, like all goofy and like I
Yeah.
think what you said in your TED Talk is anyone with special needs or different accommodations that they need, it's we're all human beings and like
Yes.
you still need connection and like how
You
like
don't need that.
how can we adjust the world so that it's easier for people to connect no on a device no matter what condition you might have?
Yes, yes. And not to have judgment about that person
No.
because you may just see them for a second, but you don't know really know what's going on behind them. And they may look fine, like me look fine on the screen right now, but you couldn't tell that I have a visual impairment.
Yeah.
So it's like when we're on the street or meeting people, it's like I always say lead with kindness. That is the biggest thing. Lead with kindness because you never know. Um, and even when I think back to my life, living a double life, there were times where I wish that some people led with kindness. Because I would, knock into them and they're like, "Oh, get all mad at me," and I'm
Oh,
like,
oh,
I can't see you, that's why,
you
right?
know what? It's like allow people to make mistakes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
allow people to be imperfect, allow people, right?
yes, yeah.
Or at
Yeah.
least give them the benefit of the doubt if
Give
you
them the
can.
benefit of the doubt because you never know. You really never know. Right?
It
And
so true. Um, Tell me about this. So, as your experience, if anyone listening to this might have, questions about like they're learning about maybe they just met someone who has a visual impairment, or they're like, hey,
mhm,
I want to be more educated about this.
mm.
What are like a handful of things that you kind of wish people who didn't have a visual impairment might know or may hey, like what are is there anything that comes to mind that's like keeps coming up like, "Hey guys, wait, that this is what's helpful for people who are learning about what you're going through to kind of be aware of?"
I think the biggest thing is because even myself when I got diagnosed, you think that blindness means complete darkness, but it actually doesn't.
Mhm.
Blindness is, they say, a spectrum, and that really means that the percentage is about 95% can see something, and there's only 5% that see complete darkness. So whether, you might see like blurred spots or your peripheral's gone or all blurry, there's still something that they can see. So not to assume that they cannot see anything at all. So yeah, basically assumptions would be one thing. And many people that they want to help, but if they see me crossing, like grabbing my hand and pulling me across, it's not gonna it's not helpful. It's actually very scary.
Oh, yeah, because 'cause you're like, if anyone grabbed my
Yeah,
I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, yeah. And the using the cane, is one way of helping me to navigate the world and make a sense of what's going on. So if you want to help someone for help, ask. And if they say yes, great. And if they say no, that's okay. It's not, don't be offended or anything like that.
Yeah. I
They're
saw
okay.
someone if we were at the crossing at the corner, because there is a man that walks with a dog, and he seems like
Mhm.
he knows his route. If
Yeah.
I, like, said, "Hey, good morning," like, if I were to say, "Is there anything I can do to help?" That's not insulting.
No, it's
It
not insulting. No, no, it's
Okay,
not insulting. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for letting me
Yeah.
ask that.
Yeah. But don't pet his dog because the dog is working dog. So don't pet the dog, don't feed the dog, things
Yeah,
like that. So
and
that's
any
a big thing. People don't know. They're like, oh, so cute.
Oh, yeah. I always tell my kids, any dog with anyone, you always have to
Yes.
check with the owner, never like that's,
Yes.
you know. Okay, so offering or and like also you know There are two. There's one lady in my neighborhood who I've seen recently walks with her stick and somebody else, and she holds
Mhm,
his arm. And
mhm,
then there's a man with a dog.
mhm,
So, curious, did you ever consider a dog versus the cane? And like, and also two-part question, if you don't mind
mhm.
sharing, do
Yeah,
you see different lights? Like, what is your 4 out of 10, you said?
for my headache
Oh, for
pain.
headache.
Headache pain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So with my eyes, what it is like I have cone-rod dystrophy. So the cones and the rods are the cells at the back of the eye that help with um, color perception, seeing in dim light. So those cells are dying. So a lot of times you can't tell if someone's blind because a lot of it is happening behind the eye, not on the surface of the eye.
Mm.
Um, so for me, I still perceive light. I can see shapes, but they're very blurry. I can't tell details, like I can't tell details of faces of people. Like I was once walking, home on the street. I thought it was my son. It wasn't my son. So I said, "Hi." So, like to say,
It's okay.
yeah, like oh, he kind of had the same mannerisms and walk, and kind of had the same haircut. And I thought
You can
I
see
was like,
sort of, okay, okay,
yeah. So I could see the shapes. So and I'm very sensitive to light, so a lot of times I will bring my sunglasses with me because just different times of the day, lighting, that affects me too, and that also affects my headaches too. So for the most part, I would say that I see just very blurry.
okay.
Yeah, and I do have a loss of peripheral vision, um, but I don't notice it too much. So that's why I use my cane because that's when I trip or I bump into things. I'm like, oh, sorry, like I didn't see you there, right? Yeah,
And now,
and yeah.
so so if somebody knows someone with any kind of visual impairment, or they've been diagnosed, or maybe they're just want to learn more, would
Mhm.
you say that some people go with, is there a reason why some people might go towards getting see a what is the proper term? Is it
Seeing guide dog, a guide
seeing guide
dog.
dog?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And because I follow an organization called Guide Dogs for the Blind.
Yeah.
And I just love dogs and animals, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
amazing creatures. So,
Yeah.
um, is that something you ever considered, or are you good with sort of your situation?
I feel very confident and comfortable with the white cane.
Uh-huh.
Um, with a dog, I've finished raising 3 kids. I don't want to take care of
You know what? That is such a good point.
if yeah. So the cane is good for me. And the sad thing is that many of those with guide dogs get denied access to so many places, and they're not supposed to be,
Wow.
to restaurants or to whatever, Ubers, things like that. And I think that's really, really wrong.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but personally, for me, the white cane works well, um, and it gives that signal to other people that I'm visually impaired, and to give me that space that I
Yeah.
need. Um, and it allows me to keep my head up and look straight ahead and use the vision that I have, the usable vision that I have, and let the cane do the work of detecting any obstacles. So
Yes.
that works for me. But there are so
Yeah.
many people who are visually impaired who do not use a cane or guide dog more than the people who do use a cane or guide dog. So that's where, I say lead with kindness because you just never know. And if someone needs help reading the menu board, help them, right? Not saying, yeah, it's right there, right?
I mean, it's it's such a good reminder, and when I was talking to Kiwan, he was talking about how he went to a center, right? Like
Mhm,
I think it was through the Veterans Center for the Blind, or it was
mhm.
some program that would help him kind of understand how to navigate his new life. And then there are also you can be trained, right, as someone help assisting somebody as like a guide,
Yes.
right? That's another
Yes.
thing.
That's right.
And I got to tell you, since meeting Kiwan and meeting you, I and even just leading up to interviewing you, I have just been trying and having these moments where I think about you both, and I just want you to
Mm,
know
mm,
that, where I'm like, wow, okay, I'm gonna just see how this would feel. Okay,
mm.
And it's just it's really, um I just want you to know that I think what both you and him are doing and how you're navigating your, different degrees of vision loss,
Vision, yeah.
it's it's very challenging. As someone who doesn't understand it and hasn't
Mhm.
experienced it, I just think you guys are such amazing, kick-ass people. I can't say that enough. And when I told him, I go, "I'm sure you don't need to be reminded." And he's like, "No, actually, please keep going." And I was like, "Okay, well, because I can keep telling you if you want. Like,
Yeah,
we're buddies now." But
yeah,
it it's just it's incredible. And like it's
yeah,
just a testament to like the human spirit, right? The resilience
yes,
that you have.
yeah. And I definitely want anyone to know that whoever's going through this too, like you could be kick-ass spirit too. Like go for it.
Yeah.
And don't let those misconceptions or stigmas like get to you because you can really lead a very full life. Like I totally enjoy traveling now. I didn't realize how much accessibility there is out there for me in terms of like airports. I'm like that, like going through security is like a breeze right now, right? Like I used to hate that, right? But like with all the right support and asking for the support, um, it just makes it so much easier. And I think when you can be open about it and speak that you need support, it's there for you. Because when you hide it, nobody knows then, right? Then they can't do they need to help you.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have days just like any human being
Hmm.
where where maybe the positivity is
Oh yeah.
fine, and then some days you're like, "Damn, where's that at? I know I have
Yeah.
some,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's when community helps.
That's when community helps. And that was actually the other day because I almost got like hit by a car because I was crossing and I'm like halfway through and she had already stopped for other people to cross. But when she saw me, decided to speed up, maybe thinking she could beat me. And I was like literally just like an arm's length away from her. And I looked at her because I could see her 'cause she's so close. And I'm like, what is going on? And I was so shooken up by that. But we had like a Zoom meeting with a group of other people in our blind community. And it was so good to talk with them about that and like get that emotional support because I was just like, did I have done anything better? I don't know, right? Like, but
Ties
it
it.
totally throws you, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and you're like, I mean, it's yeah, it's to have a community to go to
Mhm.
that understands your specific challenge, and
Yes.
then just and like with this podcast, it's like bringing all these my goal is to bring people together with different forms of adversity, but like when I saw you two, you and Kiwan were connected, and then I'm like, wait, now I need you to meet Jay because he said the
Yeah.
same thing where he goes, he's trying to raise money for his like, a better wheelchair that so because
Mhm.
he likes London, like downtown, and he's like, I need like
Yeah.
the bumpy ground. And he's like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
You need good wheels. Yeah.
He's like, what am I gonna sit in my house just because I have this? No, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hell no. I'm why can't I go? Let's
Yeah.
and I love that attitude because it's like, all right, well, how can we fix this? How can we
Yes, it's
address
it's that problem solving. Like, how can we problem solve together, and help each other, like, and just in conversations, because one person might say something like, you know what? Oh no, I've tried this, and it helps a lot. Like, uh, same thing. I enjoy traveling too, but there's all the cobblestones. So, with the help of some friends and some guidance, I found a new, tip for my cane. I'm like, now I can just roll around and be happy now, right?
that?
So
That's
little
like,
things like that.
yes, the community. It's literally and if you don't if you're like, no, I'm an introvert, I don't need it. Well, actually, you're wrong.
Yeah,
Love you,
yeah,
but you're wrong.
yeah,
Because it's biologically we are like pack animals.
yeah,
And even my
y
boss tells me this. He's like, for our stories, he's like, we're gonna hunt in packs and review each other's work. And like there's more brains are better than one. And like
yes,
you don't feel isolated if you do not
yeah,
have human contact and empathy and
yeah.
connection,
And
right?
you can really just do yourself a disservice when you're not connecting with others because it allows you to grow as a person, and have a better mindset and be more open to different perspectives as well.
Yeah.
And then some people like want to be closed off because there's like, competition or whatever. I'm like, you know what? There is space for everybody in this world because we're all unique and we all have a space. So, lift each other up, empower each other. Um, that's the way to be.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of empowerment, I would love you to plug your book because it's all about empowerment.
Yeah. So my book is Resilience and Purpose,
Okay.
and discovering strength and connection in life's cracks. Um, and it launches on Thursday, March 20th, but pre-orders are open now and it's available through all major retailers. My goal is that it generates the attention and the buzz it needs so that it does end up on bookshelves because I want that person to be able to pick it up and say, that's me, and the stories within it. How can it help you? How can it help you find your strength through adversity, and
Mm.
that we are not alone, and that actually, and it inspires others to tell their own stories too, because we need more stories out there. We need people's stories to be out there because everyone has a story and everyone has something unique to offer to the world. So that's my hope for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be pre-ordering. I'm going to put it in the show notes. Well, when this airs, it'll now I can say it's in the show notes. So
Yeah,
we got your Instagram following Purpose in View, which
right,
is in the show notes. We got the book pre-order right now. Then we got the TEDx talk, which is
right.
fantastic. I just watched it. And I
Thank you.
love the analogy you used about like the mirror and then the
Yeah,
broken mirror and then you
yeah,
putting back the mirror back together with
yeah,
like community and power. Like it was a
yeah.
brilliant story, and you're such
Thank
a
you.
beautiful storyteller, by the
Thank
way.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
You
Yeah,
are.
it's interesting because like the TED Talk, like on a whim, I was like, oh, this looks good, I'll apply, and never thinking that I would get it because I think I only done one talk before that, but I was just on this kind of high. But I remember, being part of the that cohort, and they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just a mom." Um, but yeah, just being with so many amazing people and learning from them and getting the coaching. Um, and being able to tell my story, um, and leave the door open for the next person.
It was such a wonderful story, and congratulations. Like, what
Thank you.
another lesson too. Like you had only done one talk and you just
Yeah,
applied and then you got it and here
yeah,
and what? Like you just never know, right?
you never know.
You
Yeah,
can't be
and I
second,
think
but on first, right?
no, and it's like I'd say if the thing is, it's hard work. If all you do is have to work hard at it, and it will happen. Um,
Mm.
because I was with a group that are like PhDs and lawyers and things, and they didn't think they need to practice so much. But I was like, yeah. But you know what? It's like hard work and practice, persistence, it pays off. Um, and anything is possible, and you can do it.
Mm. I love your message. I love everything about you. I'm so also I didn't even say this. I just love that you're Canadian too. Like I
You-
love like I was born in Buffalo and like we grew
oh
up
yeah,
going to Niagara Falls and then just my friend Jade, I just did that event and
yeah,
Jade's Canadian and then like I and we're big hockey fans in Buffalo and
oh
then
yeah,
I'm like, I mean hockey's like,
yeah,
oxygen, right?
yeah.
Um but oh, and another thing, the Canadian connection. My good friend Ashita, she in December of 2023 gave me on the door Christmas Eve. I go to the doorstep. It's like a Hallmark movie. And
Yeah,
there's a gift, and she's Canadian. That's why it connects.
yeah.
Um, total Canadian. Her and her husband Raj are both Canadian. They're like hockey nuts. There was a podcast microphone and a note
Oh,
saying, "Go for it."
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, "Excuse me, what?
yeah,
Whoa, no, no. I don't like kind of like you said. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
But hey." turns out apparently things can happen if you just
Things can just try. And you know what? With adversity and with everything, is just like one foot in front of the other, one thing at a time, and you never know what that path that what will unfold. And it may not be what you thought it was, but it often will turn out better than you ever dreamed.
so beautiful. One step at a time.
Sometime, yeah.
And I can't wait to, well, we're already connected, but I'm just, thank you for educating me and my audience. We are a global audience, so this
Yes,
is
yeah.
getting out. I think we're at 31 countries.
Ooh,
And
all
so
right.
have some traffic in each of those. I
Yeah,
got, maybe a handful of people. Just I got a little fan club over there.
yeah.
And we're just gonna build it, ripple effect. But you
Absolutely.
know, across the world, everybody has different needs, special needs, like mental stuff, mental illness you
Yes,
can see, visual stuff you can't see. Who knows, right? Like
yes. Yeah,
so, lead with kindness, follow, and you are so inspiring. You're helping us, raise our kids with more compassion, be more compassionate ourselves. And from another storyteller to another storyteller, I'm learning so much from you. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you. I love being on here and talking with you. I'm like, we should meet one day in person.
Where you're in Canada, right?
I'm in Canada, yeah.
Okay, I'm coming to Canada.
Okay.
I'm coming to
And
Canada.
I'll come over there too.
I'll come to California.
Yeah, I would
Please,
love to. Yeah.
I just,
Because you'll, yeah.
your energy is wonderful, and I'm like,
Oh, thank you.
I'm a huge fan. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we connected.
yeah, you're amazing, and I love your reels. I literally chuckle when you do like the little like leg lift. Like, oh my gosh, she's so cute.
It's- You know what? My motto now is like, okay, people are gonna stare. I'm gonna give them something good to stare at. So like, I'll
Right.
put on my cane, I'll go out there, rock it, I'll like get all dressed
Give them
up,
a little show,
like,
a little
why
Irish
not, right?
jig, Irish jig on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, yeah, right on.
Thank you, Anne. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'll send you a message.
Okay, sounds
Take
good.
care.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.